Hi, I'm Dana Robson, and this is Plumpy Thimble. Now normally we do a lot of game reviews, talk about new games that are coming out or games that I highly recommend. Today is going to be a little bit different. You see, I live in a town called Lyndon, which is about as far west and north that you can get in the United States. We're about 5 minutes from the Canadian border. I moved up here in 2010, but about 30 years ago, the Chamber of Commerce thought it'd be really cool to release their own version of the game Monopoly, being legally distinct and different from Monopoly, of course. And so, 30 years later, they thought it'd be a good idea to release the second edition of Lyndenopoly. And I happened to be around for this happy occasion. I'm sure you guys are familiar with other versions of this type of game. Horseopoly, Beeropoly, there's a million different versions of blankopoly. This is Lyndenopoly, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to go around the board and show you my home, the place that I call home now. So, let's pick a token and let's take a stroll along the boardwalk. Or, can we say boardwalk?
Here it is. Lyndenopoly is the picture of rural capitalism. We sell everything, including, it looks like Banner Bank bought all the money, so that's kind of cool. Each piece is unique to this area. Whatcom County produces the most raspberries in the country, which is why we've got the strawberry as a piece there. Big agricultural town, which is why we also have the dairy cow. Something that there's a lot of farms, both berry and dairy, which makes sense for the tractor, so that's kind of cool. We're also there's a large Dutch community here in town, which is why the wooden clog just makes sense. It's classy, it's timeless, and it's Dutch, a lot like this windmill, which is also a piece, so that's kind of cool. I, however, am pretty partial to the thimble, which is not in this game, so I will be using the Woods coffee cup, which will be seen here in just a moment, placed on the fair because the starting location is the Northwest Washington Fair. I'm going to flip that upside down so it looks a little bit more like the thimble in the traditional game. Now yes, the Northwest Washington Fair is very exciting. You can see a whole bunch of stuff. After getting your tickets to the Northwest Washington Fair, walk on in, see people riding llamas, or visit the Cat Barn, my favorites. Moving on the board, we go to Lewis's Auto Glass. They literally just fixed a rock chip in my windshield, so thanks guys. If you land on a grace space, you draw a card, do things like beat the mayor at racquetball, so that's kind of cool. The Grandiflora, if you're enjoying a stroopwafel, walk down the street, hit up the Grandiflora, and have some nice home decor there. Central Tax and Accounting Services, like many businesses in Lyndon, hangs a shrub from their window. We locals call them Lyndon baskets. Skagit Bank is the first of our railroads. We don't have railroads here in Lyndon, so we've got banks. East Side Hair, I couldn't find their sign, but I've gotten a haircut there. And instead of Chances, there is Farmers Insurance, Andy Jewel Agency, and you can draw cards and visit the library, something like that. Heartfelt Massage, followed by Edeline Dairy, where you can get the best ice cream in town, all made here locally, so that's kind of cool. This is interesting. The jail is actually the nicest building in town. Sorry, it's not the jail. You get to visit the inn in Lyndon. It's a good thing this time, even though you're not buying property in order to win the game. Visit Foxy Brown's for women's consignment. I didn't. Puget Sound Energy, and then Surroundings, which is another home decor store. We buy Christmas ornaments here every single year. It's very nice inside. Banner Bank is our second not railroad. They not only paid for this space, but they also sponsored all the money in the game. Lyndale Glass does windows, doors, and more, and here is my son destroying my selfie stick. So thanks, Bruce. You got another Grace space sponsored by the Simple Box Company. Heroes Resource is one of the sponsors of some of these Grace cards. Have to point them out because they have the best selection of board games in town. Northwest Propane, followed by Ace Hardware. All very exciting spaces, and then Lyndon literally has their own free parking, and so that we kept that the same, I guess. S&H Auto Parts, I have bought a headlight bulb from them once, so that was kind of cool. Farmers, but then we're going to jump on over to the Christian Healthcare Center, which is, if you fall and break your hip, this is where you're going to want to end up, right here. And coming up, we've got the Lyndon Tribune, which is a small local newspaper that I didn't subscribe to, but shows up every week or so. Wiku Bank is another bank railroad, and we've got Nooksack Valley Disposal as a property as well, followed by Maple Leaf Auto Body, which we've used their services, really like them. Vandergreen Lumber is another spot next to the Go Straight to Jail, which again is not a bad thing in this game if it were real life. Dave's Sporting Goods. When I moved up to Washington, I realized sports stores are pretty different than what I was used to in Southern California, as is evident by the rifle there. And it looks like we've got Guide Insurance, which is just down the street from the best pizza in town that apparently didn't want a spot on the board. Oxbow is another space on the board. I believe they make berry pickers. I'm gonna have to double check that. And of course, the most prestigious railroad bank on the board is People's Bank, my current employer. And we've got the mill, where you can get some fine wines and cheeses, I assume, and the Linden Pioneer Museum, which brings us to LTI, where they truck milk, I'm assuming, all over the state. And you can see all their trucks there. And that's the board. It leads us right back to start. Some of the main sponsors were Woods Coffee, which is the local Starbucks competition, arguably much better than Starbucks, and the Linden Chamber of Commerce. And that's it. So thanks for letting me take you around town. For more videos on board games and reviews, check out my channel, Plumpy Thimble. Thanks.